This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY at checkout.
Better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, ah, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning in. That sounded like a robot.
Thank you for tuning in to.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the... Oh, I have a mini announcement up top. Just a heads up.
We've replaced Paige with Paige GPT, and that's why she sounds a little robotic.
It's not going great.
It's very derivative.
Thanks for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
And I'm Todd Schlosser, and this week Paige made us watch
Save the Last Dance.
So, Paige, when was the first time you saw Save the Last Dance and experienced what love was like for the first time?
This is the first time I've seen this movie all the way through.
Oh, my God. I'm so happy about that because, Paige.
Same?
No, I'm pretty sure I saw this in theaters.
No shit.
Yeah, but haven't seen it since. I know I've seen it all the way through because I remembered like the big story beats. But man,
I knew about most of it, right? This movie is so in the cultural zeitgeist, it's impossible not to know.
It's very ubiquitous within pop culture. You're right. Yeah. I think that for a 2001 movie, it does a pretty good job of holding up with some pretty dicey, usually themes from around that time.
It does. Man, can I make a quick announcement?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I thought you were joking. My bad.
No, I actually was serious. Hey, everybody. Paige Wesley here. I mean, you would assume since you're already listening to this. In March, I will be roast battling in August. Nope, that made no sense. My brain.
I'm sorry. You'll be roast battling in March, in August? Hang on, Paige. I know it's like late already and we're just starting, but what is happening?
It's late and my brain is scrambled eggs.
You got it's a good thing those scrambled eggs just recently dropped in price.
In March, I'll be battling at the Mothership on March 16th, but I'll be in town for a few days around that to see friends and record some other podcasts and do some other stuff. I don't know if you know, local Austinites, but you have a new romance bookstore that opens this weekend as of airing of this episode.
What?
Yes, it opens Valentine's Day weekend.
Of course it does. Come on.
Of course it does. It's called Flutter. Great name. I have been DMing with the owner on Instagram, and I know that we have a lot of romance book girlies and boys and everything in between. Theys, you name it.
They're called burlies. Thank you. Girlies and burlies.
People who read romance novels of all stripes.
Get your smut on.
Get your smut on. But here's what I want. I love a good romance bookstore. You know I love Ripped Bodice, both here and in New York. I love Under the Cover in Kansas City. Can't wait to go see them when we go do Panic Fest.
Yeah.
I love a good romance bookstore. I want to make sure that they thrive and continue to exist. So on March 14th, that's a Friday, March 14th, I will be at Flutter at 2 p.m. If you want to meet me and hang out and buy books at Flutter, come see me there at 2 p.m. I'll post about it on Instagram so that you guys can see it. But I will see you there.
March 14th at Flutter?
At Flutter.
In Austin?
In Austin. Austin, Texas.
I was just in Austin. I literally just got back like 3 days ago from Austin. Love Austin.
But yeah, so I'm very excited for Flutter. I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Paige.
Yes.
Tell me what you thought about Save the Last Dance.
So here's the thing. I think the reason this is in the cultural zeitgeist the way it is because it's actually good. I stand on that. I think this is a good movie.
I liked it. I did. I think they do a really good job with it.
I think they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
They nail something, two things. One that I criticize on this show all the time is that they actually have the characters spend time together and get to know each other. And that's why they have such fucking insane chemistry.
They really do, man.
So hot. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, love them. Love it. But secondly, they managed to master something from a character point of view that I see a lot in romance novels and not a lot in romance movies. I feel like it's a very tough line to walk. And that is your male protagonist being confident, almost to the point of pushy, but also intensely supportive.
Yeah.
Of like her and who she is and who she wants to be. It's not pushy in a way that like I'm in charge of you or whatever. It's I want you to thrive. And like nothing for me is hotter than a dude who is confident in his own self and his own stuff, but also is your biggest cheerleader for your stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And so for me, I love him in this movie. I'm like, this is great. Like, this is a blueprint for so many good things that they're doing in the movie. Does it still suffer from the same pacing problems that all dancing movies have suffered from that we have ad nauseum talked about? Yes. However, I do think they do their montages a little bit better in this because they put story in between them.
I also think they do a good job with the montages because, and I don't know if they did this, but they very much feel like while you're watching them, they're just like in a room and like the two actors are living in like the moment. They're pretending to be the people they are pretending to be, but they're just like dicking around, having a good time with each other. And they're capturing those like little funny and sweet moments that happen, you know?
Yes.
It feels very impromptu, which it probably isn't.
Sure.
Because it's a movie, but it feels that way, which is like what it would actually be like. I think they just do a great job of capturing those like sweet, almost flirtatious or like almost even sort of intimate moments that happen organically when you're just that close to somebody because you're dancing.
Yeah. Well, and I think this movie views itself as a romance first and a dance movie second. And that's why it does that.
Perfect way to describe it. Agree.
It is doing everything in service of the relationship, which is why the relationship in this movie seems so fleshed out, seems so good. The chemistry is there. It's steamy, it's hot, it's great. And if you contrast it with something that is absolutely trying to emulate this and missing the mark, Step Up, you see some of that, but a lot of it goes into the dance. And so even those montages don't serve the story. In this one, even the montages play into that relationship and their chemistry and vulnerability within that relationship.
I mean, I really do like that. Like the way they come together sort of as a couple, we still sort of get the enemies to lovers trope a little bit. It's not like...
Oh, God, this is a great enemies to lovers.
It's not like full-on enemies, but it's like they have like a spat in class. They were on a path to not being friends. You know what I'm saying?
If this was in a book, you would bought it Flutter. If this was in a romance novel, you would have probably heard his internal monologue of even when he's kind of being mean in those early moments and kind of challenging her, being like, she's so hot. Like, I can't even, why am I being mean to her? I shouldn't, you know, or like you would hear that mental part of it that like we can't see in the movie, but I do feel it, you know, through his performance. So yeah. But it does start enemies to lovers for sure.
It does. It's really just over Capote. That's that one moment in the classroom, really.
Which, can we teach in cold blood in school? That sounds awesome. I would have loved to have read that at school.
I don't think you're allowed to teach anything in school anymore. It's like a whole thing.
Fuck.
Like, yeah.
Damn it.
I don't know. But I really liked the movie. I thought it was wild that, like, I feel weird saying it, but like her Juilliard auditions, like both of those auditions have a higher kill count than most movies we do on Horror Virgin. That lady needs to, like, at the end of the movie when that guy was like, yes.
She needs to stop dancing for safety.
Well, no, just stop auditioning for Juilliard. Like, the guy who, like, at the end of the movie, who, like, literally is like, I shouldn't tell you this, ma'am, but welcome to Juilliard, or whatever he says which of course they wouldn't do it that way. I laughed out loud when that happened. But I feel like he needs to know if she is dancing for or at Juilliard, a blood sacrifice has to be made, apparently.
Someone's dead.
Yes.
Yeah, someone is dead.
Yeah, like no joke. This movie has a kill count of like 4 during just her 2 scenes.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We do see them, obviously the mom, that's one. But for the drive-by, they seem to be moving them out of the car, like, and one's on a stretcher, but not like a body bag. So she may not have killed anyone in that drive-by. Seems impossible, but...
So wait, none of those people died? The car blew up, Paige.
I know, but after we see them like helping them out of the car and they've got like bumps on their head and stuff, even though the car exploded.
What is happening? Really?
Yes.
Okay, I must have taken a note because I didn't see that.
No, it's like a 2 seconds where they help the one guy, Malachi. He's got like a bandage on his head. And then they put another guy into a cop car. And then they're putting another guy on a stretcher into an ambulance. So in theory, that guy could die later. But like, as far as what we see in the movie, nobody died.
Okay. I mean, her mom definitely died. She says at one point, I was dancing and she was being scraped off the sidewalk, which I was like, good God. What is this, Hereditary? What is happening? This is like a horror movie.
I am your mother. Yeah.
Well, not any. I mean, I guess we'll always be. But I say all of that and like I'm joking, obviously, because like I cried a lot watching this movie.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I lost somebody in a sort of a similar way, except I wasn't dancing for Juilliard because I don't want people to die. You know what I'm saying? But I lost a brother in an accident that we were both in. So like her like survivor's guilt scene where she's like crying and he's like supportive and like, fuck, I was like weeping, full on weeping.
That conversation is what all Hallmark movies need. Is that conversation of people actually getting raw and talking about their stuff. And yes, I will update the brother counter, but like it's justified in this movie.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
But yeah, that scene of her, like, I get the impression in that scene that she has never said that out loud.
Oh, same. Yeah.
That she has never voiced the blame she puts on herself, which is unfair.
Yeah.
It is not her fault.
And he says, I love it. He says in that scene, like, it's not your fault she's dead. It's not even your fault. She was rushing.
Yeah, none of that's your fault.
Yeah, like he went even past like it's not your fault she died. Like like so much of what you're blaming yourself for, you don't need to do that.
Right. You had no control over it.
Yeah, but like also from her side of it, like it's not like she wanted to blame herself for that. It's just like something that's
Sure.
like going on. So like she just needs therapy and to help with that. But I do think like having that moment where she like verbalizes it is like a huge step towards like helping with that.
Oh, huge.
But also like, I don't know, how long does this movie take place over? It seems like it's like, I don't know.
Like 5 days? Yeah.
It seems, no joke, it seems like 5 weeks. Like it's winter when her mom dies.
Right.
And then it's winter-ish at the end of the movie. And she's like in her senior year. She has to go to a different like school for the last half of her senior year.
Yeah. So here's what I was thinking. It could be that. It could absolutely be that. I think it's very likely that. The other option is her mom passes. She finishes out the school year staying with a friend or whatever. And she was a junior and then had to finish at senior. But then why would she be auditioning for Juilliard as a junior? I mean, I guess maybe for early decision, but like, you know.
Do you think that man was her friend? Hang on.
What? No.
Oh, okay.
Because he has a section where he's like, there has been time between the funeral and her moving. Because he says, I'm sorry I left so soon after the funeral. I had a gig to get to and this thing. But like, I'm glad you were able to get everything settled and come here. So like, the funeral happened, he left. There's time in between that we don't know about, that the movie doesn't say a lot about, and then she moves on her own. That could have been a couple days, which would be the 5-week theory, or a couple months, who knows? I think the 5-week theory is probably the most likely. It just seems wild that she would be that much like, dancing is no longer a part of my life now. Like, that fast, but you know, kids be dramatic.
Paige, yeah, like when she's sitting on her couch, I guess that's also her bed,
right?
But like when she's sitting there on her schmed, she like is putting on her shoes and it's like this emotional moment. And I was like, you were wearing those like a week ago. Like, I realize your mom just died. Like, that's sad, but like.
That's also a thing that's one of the few things in this movie that I'm like, did they talk to people who did ballet? Because like ballet dancers destroy their shoes on the regular.
Just out of like frustration, like John McEnroe with a racket?
No, as a part of like prepping the shoes to use.
Oh,
they
yeah.
will destroy them so that they can dance on them, but that means that they only last a short amount of time. And so for her to have like used point shoes and then be like, perfect, I'll put these back on. I'm like, no, you need new point shoes. Like what? But there's a girl on TikTok who goes live every time she has to break in new shoes, and it's like every 3 days.
Good God.
I watched a documentary on ballet shoes. I don't know why. I just did. I was bored. I was crocheting. And I want to say it was the London Ballet gets all of their shoes from this one specific place. And they order millions of dollars of shoes a year because they get new shoes every performance. Every performance. That's how badly they ruin their shoes in between shows. It was wild.
Why don't they just take them off when they're done with the performance? Anyway.
No, they do. It's just, anyway.
I know. It's just
they're destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I'm not going to put my foot in anything that has something called a toe box.
Yeah.
So I'm out.
You got to crush the toe box. It's a thing. Anyway, you were saying.
I also did forget that this movie started out exactly like a movie that came out 2 years after this. And I'm not saying that Finding Nemo ripped off Save the Last Dance,
God.
but you can't prove they didn't like steal the premise of that.
You can't prove it. It was real wild for them to cast her dad as Dory and forgetting about her and her needs. But, you know, happens.
Yeah.
Just keep dancing. Just keep dancing.
I actually really did like the movie, Paige. I thought it was great.
I did. Do you want to just go through it scene by scene?
Yeah, let's go through it scene by scene. Let's chat about it.
We open with her sitting on the train with a ballet magazine, and a lady sits down next to her and is like, oh, I love ballet. I don't have the body for it. Do you dance? And she's like, not anymore.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the start of the movie.
Is it?
On the train.
Is that, and then do they do the flashback? Is this like
yes,
what
then they do a flashback,
I was like,
yeah.
wait, because we saw her at her first school, like, yeah, because we meet her, like, terrible friend,
We meet her wild friend that she just occasionally calls and has the craziest lines in this movie. Yes. We flash back to her practicing in the house. Her mom is, like, wishing her luck.
Yeah.
And that she is going to a Juilliard audition in St. Louis. So it's possible that the Chicago one was however many weeks later or whatever.
Which, like, does Juilliard send out, like, audition?
I don't know. I have never auditioned for Juilliard. I always thought you had to go to New York to audition for Juilliard.
I would assume that too. I don't know. But
and in other movies, it also seems that way.
Yeah, I would assume that too, and I don't know. But, like, that would be cool, though. Like, if Juilliard was like, all right, we're going to do like a Star Search sort of thing.
That wouldn't surprise me if they did, though, because like Juilliard's like the school. Like,
yeah.
And there are other entertainment things like that go and set up private auditions, and you like a coordinator contacts you and is like, whole thing. Like SNL does that and does like private auditions, and then you get to go to like the big one in New York or whatever.
Okay. So maybe this is like round one or whatever.
Yeah. Like I had to go through this for JFL one time.
Oh yeah, just for laughs. Nice.
Just for laughs, and go to local auditions. And so it didn't strike me as that weird, but I don't know if it's real.
Yeah, I don't know either. I thought it was cool though. I kind of want it to be real. I don't know if it is though.
Maybe. That's how America's Got Talent and shit like that works.
Yeah.
But they televise that. This is like private, but yeah.
Yeah. But in this montage, we meet her terrible friend and we sort of see her at her school, and her friend like grabs her and is like, let's pray. We got to pray.
I feel like her friend is just so sheltered.
Yes.
Like, I feel like her friend has Fox News parents and doesn't know any better.
I was like, she must belong to like a surfer family, because she starts her prayer with awesome father. I was like, what? First off, that's going to be my name when we start the religion that we're going to use to get tax exempt status.
No, this this movie came out when I was still in youth group.
Of course.
In high school. That's classic non-denominational Protestantism of this period is like, God, you are so awesome. You are so radical. Yes.
But like to start off the prayer with awesome Father,
Absolutely.
guide of the ocean, breaker be thy name. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Like, what are you surfing all day? Like, stop it.
We had a song, Our God is an awesome God, he reigns. And so like awesome was the thing that got used all the time.
And into the ocean that we surf. I've heard that song, of course. Yeah.
The sand on the beach, it burns. Yeah.
Give us this day the longest ride and forgive us our wipeouts.
Wax us our boards as we will wax the boards of others.
As we forgive those who snake us, for thine are the waves and the flow and the stoke forever. Amen. I don't know what I'm saying. I just like I've heard surfers say shit like that. Like, anyway, awesome Father. I thought it was hilarious.
Awesome Father. I heard it and I was like immediately transported back like 20 years.
I saw everything they were wearing and was immediately transported back 20 years.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the time at which most youth groups were super into the book Jesus Freaks. Like there was a whole lot of awesome God, give us your testes, play the guitar.
I'm sorry. What was that last one? Not to give us the guitar.
Testes. A little bit of testes. Testimony.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the bad person because I'm the only one who thought something else.
No. That's deliberately why I said it that way, because I find it funny. Anyway, so she's clearly very, very sheltered because when she calls later and is like, how many drive-bys have you seen? And I'm like, ma'am.
Dude, we'll get there because I have something to say about the conversation they have on the phone together. I was like, damn, if you're saying shit like that, I know why they cut all your scenes out of this movie.
Oh, hundo.
Because we only see her once. Although, I mean, she's just doing the lines. She's not a real person. That's a character, but you know.
I think the movie had a very different point of view than her family would have.
Oh, yeah. Her family now would have been like, that movie's too woke.
Yeah. Anyway, so she goes up, she does her audition. It is intercut with her mom trying to rush to get there.
Right.
And just as she does like the first classical part of her audition, great, but then on her contemporary piece, she falls over. And as she falls, her mom gets like fully Final Destination on the freeway. That lady, basically like an 18-wheeler, like fishtails, and she gets like slams into it.
You had to say fish, Paige?
Yeah.
The Finding Nemo of it all. You had to say fishtails? Come on.
Yep. Just keep driving. So we then, and what we're led to believe is that she's telling all of this to that poor, unsuspecting woman on the train.
I know, who is like, gotta be like, good Lord, are you
Sorry,
okay,
I
ma'am?
asked.
Wow. I mean, I wouldn't even be sorry I asked. I'd be like, do we need to like, or do you need some help? Like, can I help? Because like, that's a lot of trauma to experience like a day ago.
Right. And then when she gets there and her dad picks her up, he's like, sorry, I had to split right after the funeral. I had this gig or whatever. And he's like, but here's the apartment. And they like walk around the apartment and he was not ready to have her there. I mean, it was sudden, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're trying to like give him an alibi, but like,
no,
he had nothing to do with the mom's death, Paige.
He was driving that fucking truck, man. He was driving that truck.
No, he didn't know she was coming.
He's the trucksecutioner.
I'm just saying, if this proves anything, it's that he wasn't expecting her mom to die. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
He has an alibi.
He has an alibi, allegedly. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Parking brake, jingle the keys.
Why do you have to leave so quickly after the funeral? Huh? Answer those questions, Paige.
Huh? Is it because long haul truckers are on a schedule?
John, get my logbook.
Oh, God, no, not John. Anyway, she has to sleep on a sleeper sofa that does not unfold.
Story of my life.
I know.
It's got a new mattress, too. I thought it was really funny that the dad was like, it's got a new mattress, but it kind of sticks sometimes. So, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
It's, like, honestly, such a reversal of circumstances. Because she goes from, like, what is more or less like a middle-class life.
Sure, yeah.
It may not be, like, great high-income middle class, but she's, like, living in a house, going to, like, suburb school. It's fine. And then she is, like, sleeping on a couch in her dad's living room, going to an inner city school, quote unquote. Like,
right.
It's such a reversal of circumstances.
It is. And I think he just put the wrong size mattress in the sleeper sofa. And that's why it sticks. Like if the mattress is too thick.
He needs to get himself one of those Casper mattresses. All right, guys. Go to Casper.com/this is not an ad. Sorry.
I did a Horror Virgin Factor ad live at Roast Battle a couple weeks back because they they had to record roast battle ads for something, and I was just being a dick, and I was just like, Factor has meals for busy people on the go. And they were like, how did you know the copy? And I was like,
Because I've read it 100 times.
Squarespace. Anyway, he drops her off at school. She gets there. She's like the only white girl, except for the other white girl that we will meet later, who is an interesting facet of the social landscape.
Sure. They say that she thinks she's down.
Yes.
And then she's like, I am down. And then that's really all it's addressed.
Here's the thing, though. You don't get to call yourself down as the lone white girl. They ascribe that to you. I'm just saying. My thing with her is that she seems to switch cliques a couple times in the movie where it's like she's friends with Nikki, but then she's friends with Chanel, then she's friends with these other people.
Yeah, she's like, who's going to win the Super Bowl? I'm going to go for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just seeing who's going to win this, you know? Who's going to end up with Derek? I want to be on that side because she's playing the long game, Paige.
She is.
Stay close to the D-man.
That's what's up. I forgot the Super Bowl was a thing because I only involve myself in football for appetizers.
Yeah, if there's not, but I literally have said, are you having buffalo chicken dip? No, I'm out.
I'm out.
Like I'm only going for the sides.
Yeah.
And the zerts. I'll go for the zerts too.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So somebody texted me today and they were like, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? And I just texted back, Kendrick Lamar.
I'd be like buffalo chicken.
Artichoke dip. Garlic artichoke dip in a bread bowl.
Damn, they got artichoke for the halftime show, Paige? God.
Oh, damn. You got taquitos for some of that chili dip. I made pizza dip last year. Incredible.
I don't even know how you can dip a whole pizza, but I want to find out.
Okay, so it's basically all the pizza toppings as a dip, and then you dip chips and bread into it.
I badly wanted you to say you order a pizza from Domino's and put it in a blender, but whatever. That's fine. I thought I was setting you up for a joke, and you told me like a serious thing. It's fine. Of course it would be disgusting, Paige. It sounds awful, but it's still possibly food.
Real pizza dip is incredibly delicious, I promise you. Anyway.
Yeah, get my blender. I'll whip something up right now.
Yeah, go for it.
Jack, give me some Domino's, Jack.
Anyway, she has to go through metal detectors to go to class because this is right after Columbine.
I'll also say this. I doubt like student IDs and metal detectors are uncommon nowadays. I bet that's pretty common.
I have no idea. I don't go to many schools.
Paige, as an old man, I refuse. I'm definitely not going to any school. I don't have kids. If I am at a school, something has gone wrong for everyone involved. Like I have no business being there.
I get asked to teach story circles sometimes at schools, but lately via Zoom, so I don't have to go through their metal detectors. I don't need your shit ass metal detectors, school.
Yeah, sorry about the gun violence.
Yeah. Enjoy the Joseph Campbell from the comfort of my home.
Hero of 1,000 faces. Anyway, let's move on.
So she briefly meets with one of the coordinators who takes her to her first class, Mr. Campbell's class, where they are reading In Cold Blood in high school and having like a spirited literary debate about it.
Two of them are. One of them is just like being super homophobic.
Yes, but also, and this I felt terrible because he is being very homophobic, but I was also like, he is correct.
He's like a little nuanced, but not off the mark too much.
Right,
You're right.
Yeah. Like, that is an important facet of this book because at the time it was not okay to be out, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do love that in the debate, he's like, you should be reading these other authors, one of whom is James Baldwin, which, by the way, if you want something to feel slightly better about the turmoil our world is in right now, read yourself some James Baldwin, because it doesn't make it better, but he does seem to elucidate very clearly some of the emotions we're feeling about the oppression we see day to day.
And this is Alex's brother? Is he one of the Baldwin brothers?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
My bad. I didn't realize.
No.
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. Honestly, you would fucking love it. You would love James Baldwin.
Paige, I fucking know who James Baldwin is.
Okay,
Please,
good.
come on. Let me make a joke.
I was going to say, I was like, if you don't, we need to have a talk about the podcast right now.
That is fair. Yes.
But yes, if you out there, read yourself some James Baldwin. Get into it. I've been in a James Baldwin era recently. I've been enjoying it very much. But Kerry Washington shows up after class And Julia Stiles puts her backpack on the ground. Kerry Washington picks it up and then is like, hey, don't leave your stuff on the ground. People will steal it. And she's like, oh my God, thanks for the heads up. I didn't even think about that because I'm from Tiny Town, USA.
Tiny Town burbs, the suburbs.
Tiny Town.
I'm sorry, guys. We had to record late tonight. It's literally 10:20 p.m.
We had to record late after a week of work in which unprecedented madness happened at both of our jobs.
Literally at both of our jobs.
And I met Teddy Swims. Like, it was a weird week. It's a weird week.
It's a good week.
He told me I was cool as fuck. That's what's up.
Paige, you're kind of cool as fuck.
I should kind of get it tattooed on my face, I think.
Face is a weird and very bad choice, but I fully support it.
Well, I mean, like, he's got a face full of tattoos. It seems only fair.
Paige, I did not at all try and stop you.
That's good. You couldn't. You're on Zoom. Anyway, so it gets to lunchtime. She doesn't know where to sit. She tries to sit with Kerry Washington, but the table is full. So she goes to sit with some nerds. And Kerry Washington is like, let me rescue you from this.
She should have been like, no. I'm very comfortable amongst nerds. My dad's a trumpet player. I have a good friend who is the product of a professional trumpet player. A very good friend. And this movie made me understand him better. I love you, Chris.
I was going to say, I was like, in what way? But Kerry Washington rescues her from the nerds.
Yes.
And when she gets to Kerry Washington's table, she's just like, oh my God, it's that asshole from English class. And Kerry Washington's like, you mean my brother?
I thought that was a very fun reveal. Yeah.
Very fun.
But it's very clear to me, even at this moment, that she is like, I hate that guy, but like, she's into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She doesn't really hate him. And I think she's just like trying to find something to talk about with these people who are like sort of graciously at least allowing her a chance to be their friend and hang out with them, even though it's like her first day of school. So like, I think she's just like, I don't think she really hates him, I guess is what I'm saying. She's just like trying to figure something out to talk about.
But we cut to Derek, who is Kerry Washington's Chenille, her brother, talking to Malachi, who we find out is back in school as part of his probation, essentially. Like, you can go to juvie or you can go to school. He chooses to go to school. We'll find out more about why later.
Yeah.
But we cut to the apartment where Julia Stiles is unpacking some of her stuff. She finds her ballet shoes. She's sad, but I'm also like, you should throw those away.
Those have been bad for months. Also, they smell terribly.
They literally fall apart. And the reason they replace them is because if you don't, you could hurt yourself. So maybe we're not supposed to be on our tippy toes all the time.
If you have to put a wooden box on your toes, like you probably, I don't know. I know a ballerina who has danced professionally.
Yes.
And I didn't know her when she was doing it at the time. It's sort of a friend of my mom's. And her feet are mangled. And she is always in pain.
Oh my God, they're so fucked up.
Yeah.
I had a couple sorority sisters who were ballerinas and their feet were fucked. Just as bad as mine are from retail now.
I'll say this, like ballet is like one of the most difficult looking things to me. Because it takes so much like control over your body and balance that like it's nuts to see, honestly. It's like Cirque du Soleil on some level. Like it's but it's also dance.
Here's the thing. I so desperately want to try point shoes. I want to walk around on my tippy toes like that, but I know I would crumple and break a shin or something like that.
Paige, I have to see this. We have to make this happen. I don't know how.
Just buy a pair of point shoes and be like, we're prepared. We're prepared to injure Paige to the point where she can no longer walk normal. Let's do it. She don't need those knees.
If Mondo can jump off a ladder, Paige.
He did do that.
I was there.
I know.
Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. So you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Perfect for any active or busy lifestyle, which is perfect for me. I have had to travel so much, I'm barely at home. And when I am, I don't want to spend that time grocery shopping. So Factor is awesome for that. I just like come in, throw it in the microwave, 2 minutes, heat and eat. It's the best. And Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, and I really love the grab and go snacks too, but for similar reasons. It's just really convenient. So eat smart and get started at factormeals.com/romancingthepod50off. Use code romancingthepod50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code romancingthepod50off. That's such a crazy code. I'm so sorry. But use it to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. You ever watch a rom-com and think, wow, this entire plot could have been avoided with basic technology? Like, imagine You've Got Mail, except instead of falling in love with the very man who destroys her business, Meg Ryan had NordVPN. She could have protected her privacy, kept her bookstore afloat, and never been catfished by Mr. Big Bookstore. That's why NordVPN is the real MVP of the modern romance. Instead of being forced to marry the corporate book baron out of sheer economic devastation, Meg Ryan could still be reading books to kids, wondering if she should write dust, debind, and dog ear on her book jackets. Here's the deal. NordVPN encrypts your internet connection so no one, not hackers, not your internet provider, and definitely not some charming elite who thinks he can just buy up your life, can snoop on what you're doing online. And with 7,100 plus servers in 118 countries, you can change your virtual location with a single click. And here's where it gets even better. One NordVPN account protects up to 10 devices. So whether you're scrolling through dating app horror stories, streaming rom-coms, or panic searching, can you legally marry a fictional character, NordVPN has you covered. So do yourself a favor. Go to nordvpn.com/romancingthepod and use the code romancingthepod, all one word, for an exclusive deal. That's nordvpn.com/romancingthepod to protect your data, to unlock your content, and to stay safe from Tom Hanks.
Anyway, we cut back to them kind of walking home from school. And Derek and Chenille are kind of introducing her to other friends, including Snook, the Coochie Crook, which I was just like, what a great nickname, man.
Let's break that nickname down, though, Paige. So what is a coochie?
Yeah, I don't like that he's stealing them.
Right. So that's a weird joke to make to a lady you just met, but whatever.
I also, given what we see of him in the film, I don't think he's a very successful coochie criminal. I don't think he has had the opportunity to thieve any. I think it is a joke implying that he cannot get any and would need to steal.
I think you're right. I do. I also think it's crazy that he's in high school and is 17 or 18 and is DJing at a 21 and up club later on, but whatever.
Yeah, impossible.
This movie does not understand how old high school students are, though.
Oh, not at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's also parts at a certain point where they're just out in the middle of the day, not at school.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, God.
Like, so where is the truancy officer? John.
No.
Get the truancy officer, John.
Don't bring him into this.
I'm so
sorry. I like that he was the one to get the truancy officer, not the truancy officer himself.
No, you can only shout John and then ask John to get you things. It's a formula, Paige. It's a formula, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay, just like my formula to make Janice take bacons for things.
My John is your Janice. I will be honest with you. 100%. That's what it is.
There you go.
And Natalie hates it so much, so I know that she's editing. I'm not going to tell her. I did it. And then she's going to get there, and I'm going to hear from upstairs, come on, or something like that. I swear it's going to be so funny. Anyway.
We're going to abandon you in the man store when we get to Quilltown.
I'm so sorry, baby. I love you very much.
I actually have like a list of things to buy.
Tell my wife I love her.
To buy at Quilltown this year. Because we didn't get a chance to go last year. Anyway,
That's true. Sorry.
On their way home, we find out that Derek is waiting on a letter from Georgetown and eventually wants to be a doctor.
Yeah.
We cut to what I would guess is the next day at school, and they're doing balance beam in PE, and they see that Julia Stiles' character can actually, has really good balance and can actually kind of do some stuff.
Yeah, she can beam on that balance. She's really good.
Yeah, she is really, really good.
Although I don't know if this is actually her, because they're only showing like the top of her and then the bottom half and then the top of that, so it's like we only see her when she's not actually on the beam.
Yeah.
But
she does some stuff later that's like pretty impressive.
She does. I actually did wonder, did she take ballet as a kid for a good number of years, or did she train a lot for the movie? Because it has to be one of them, because she can definitely dance on some level.
I think she trained for the movie.
Okay.
But that's also why when we were watching Honey, and I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Because you look at something like this and you're like, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Even the stuff that they're showing her doing is pretty hard to do. Although that last dance is full on bonkers bonk city. And like, that's why people have made fun of it for years, because it's a really good movie with a bonkers end dance. And I do love that Julia Stiles is fully willing to make fun of it and do it with people. Like, she came on SNL.
I love
and
that.
surprised people and did it on SNL last season. I'll try and find that clip. But yeah.
That's so funny. Okay. Good for her. Yeah.
Yeah. But because they saw her on the balance beam, Chenille and her friends are like, you should come to this dance club with us. You're going to have to pay to get a fake ID or whatever, but like, you should come.
Yeah, and Snook gets the fake ID. I think he
Right.
like works at the club, and so like they take IDs.
Yes.
And so he takes the ones they've taken.
Right.
And then like he'll look through them and find one that looks like you, I guess, and then bring it to you.
Right.
Times were easier back then, guys,
Oh.
is what we're saying.
Well, here's the funny, because she like hates the ID they give her. And I'm like, that's the perfect ID for you.
Right?
To get into a place, because it is someone who is heavier than her. It's not a great picture, but it looks enough like her that you could be like, oh, if she lost a bunch of weight, she'd probably look like this.
Right.
You know, for that person. And you know this, and I think I showed you pictures of it, because when I most recently got a new driver's license, I finally had a good picture for the first time.
Yeah.
And for years I had a horrendous picture that was so bad it didn't even look like me, but it got me in everywhere. So like,
Yeah.
if a picture's bad enough, they'll kind of just weigh their options and be like, yes, looks like you. Get on the plane. No, I didn't see a box cutter. Like, it's fine. I'm just saying, we're not checking all that close.
Right. Like, is this you or is this Alf? Hang on.
Is this you or is this Pierce Brosnan?
Honestly, that would be a huge compliment for me, please.
Oh my goodness. They'd be like, is this you or is this one of the people responsible for 9/11?
I was going to say, I don't look like I could plan 9/11, please.
Anyway, she like switches up her outfit, where I think she ends up wearing, so she says that her shirt's from the Gap. At the time, because I was a teenager at the time that this came out, Gap would have like these like matching sets to layer. So you would have like an outer shirt and an inner shirt, and they basically had similar prints, so you could kind of layer them. So I think the outer shirt becomes her headscarf.
I think so, yeah.
And the inner shirt is what she just ends up wearing.
Yeah.
But they all get in, and they're kind of making their way through, and they get to the bar, or they kind of like sit down in VIP, and this is where Nikki is kind of being a bitch. But this scene is a little weird, because clearly, and I would almost guarantee that this scene was originally written with the N-word.
Oh.
Like truly the N-word, hard R.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of the offense taken in the scene.
Yeah.
And then they decided that they wanted to soften it. And so they used the word Negro instead. And it does not quite play as well. The reality, I think using the word that they would have intended to use, again, it's one of those things where it's like, who is using it, who is writing it, who's behind the use of it in the story. And I think they made kind of a weird choice here.
I agree. I wouldn't be shocked though if Julia Stiles
was like,
was
I won't say it.
I don't want to say that word. Can we like soften this some? Like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
Because that would be a lot.
But the wild part of it is that like it holds the same weight in the scene.
It does,
because
yeah.
everyone reacts the same way. So it's like you might as well have like the scene functions as if
right.
you had said it.
Yeah.
But this is where we find out that Nikki and Derek used to go out. And something happened. And so she's trying to get Derek back.
I think it's pretty clear what happened because he says like...
Well, we find out in the next scene when they talk about it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because Nikki like leaves and they're like, oh, she, mess with Derek or whatever. She then goes up to Derek and is like, let's dance. And Derek's like, how about no?
Yeah.
Like, how about not at all?
How about you got dismissed by the college dude you broke up with me for and now you're coming back to me? He's like, no, I'm good. I'll see you later. Which like I understood why he would, with that backstory, react that way.
Yeah.
I did not understand why he, like, I don't know, a week and a half later starts to dance up on her at steps later on. I still would have been like, no, especially if I was dating my new hot girlfriend.
Right. Well, and everything about him between those two times is very intentional and purposeful.
And supportive and like loving and yeah.
And so there's a part of me that's like, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah. It felt very out of character.
Yeah, it did. Anyway, he says no. Meanwhile, Julia Stiles and Kerry Washington go up to the bar. They're about to buy drinks, but who should show up but Kerry Washington's baby's father? We just met the baby before they left the house. Christopher, who is very adorable.
Yeah.
If I were to cut one thing from this movie for time, it would be this storyline.
I think that's fair.
And here's the thing. It's not bad and it doesn't take up a ton of time. It's just one of those things that they have to kind of keep wrapping up the ends around it. And that takes a little bit of extra time. I think if you remove this, you chop 15 minutes off the movie and they would flow a little bit better.
Yeah. I think we don't get enough time with their story because at the end of this movie, they end up like together.
Together.
And it seems like they're going to try and like work it out. But like, we don't really get any of the moments that make us happy that that's happening.
That's happening.
We only get the moments of them fighting over where is he and why isn't he supporting them more.
He also doesn't go to their school that we know of.
I thought he was like, he had graduated the year before, or whatever.
Well, he's at least old enough to have graduated and have a job because I think he delivers for Pepsi.
Yeah, he had that Pepsi jacket on. That's what it looked like. Yeah, I got that vibe too, Paige. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, he's a few years older than her, like, but the argument is basically like, he's not financially supporting the baby. He's also not taking the baby to actually take care of it and, share custody. It has all fallen on Chenille and her grandmother.
Yeah.
We'll find out what happened to their mom in a bit. Anyway, so Chenille goes off with Kenny to dance. I do think this scene early on sets up that, like, even though they're mad at each other, they do like each other. Like, there was something there, but because we only see them fight, it doesn't really tie it up great for us at the end when they end up together.
I agree.
I think the intervening scenes either needed a slightly different tone or need to be just removed altogether.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy they're back together at the end. It's just like we didn't get anything that was like romantic or even almost friendly between them, really.
Right.
Because it's like every time they're together, they're just fighting.
Yeah. But after she leaves, Julia Stiles starts to order the drinks and doesn't even get a chance to before Derek comes up and is like, dance with me. You said you'd dance circles around me. Let's go. And I think this is very much him like liking her and wanting to be with her already. Like, he has set his sights and there's no mystery about it. There's no playing games. He's just communicating, I want you.
I agree. And I think she's like, let's do this the whole time. Like, I think she's into it. Yeah.
So they dance. She's not good at it.
No, she dances like Elaine from Seinfeld, which is insane because she is a great ballet dancer. And so, like, you would expect her to have, like, rhythm. I get that we're trying to learn that she doesn't know how to hip-hop dance. That's fine. It's not that she's doing ballet at a hip-hop dance. It's that she's, like, offbeat and, like, it's just weird. It's so crazy.
Ballet does not necessarily translate to beat. So you're not necessarily dancing in the rhythm of the music. You're dancing, like, kind of in tandem, but not connected, if that makes sense, where it's like you're conveying emotion through dance, not rhythm and beat through dance.
Yeah. Tell the Nutcracker that. I don't know. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, there's only parts of the Nutcracker that align. There are other parts that's like, this is a jump, this is a whatever.
Yeah.
But the rhythm of the music keeps going. So, like, I can understand how she could maybe not have rhythm, but that is the case in this movie.
Yeah, I thought a lot of dancers, and some of them didn't have great rhythm, but they could. They were close. Like,
all the ballet girls that I knew in college could get down.
Yeah, they're flexible.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
doing splits and shit. Anyway, he walks her home, and this is one of the hottest things in this movie to me. Is he's like, where's your house? I'll walk you home, and she's just like, oh no, it's just this. You don't have to. And he just said, I said I'll walk you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
Like, and it is like for her safety. Like, she's like, hey, I'm just 5 blocks that way. I'm gonna take off. And so Chenille is like, no, it's bad out here. Like, a kid might think he's a thug and mug you or whatever.
Right.
And so he's like, I'll walk you. And she's like, no. And he's like, I just said I'll walk you. Like, you cannot stop me.
Right.
I'll just walk behind you until we get there. I don't care.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was sweet because they're trying to protect her.
Right. And I think it works because we know that she likes him.
Yes.
We kind of have already figured out that he likes her. And so it's not a case in which we feel like he's going to be a danger to her. Like,
no, at all.
We trust that he wants her to get there safely. And this walk is actually really, really nice where they kind of talk and they like lose themselves in talking so much that they kind of pass our house. But they get back to the house and she's like, thanks. It was nice to, hang out. And he's like, okay, is that like a nice to see you, actually nice to see you? Or like, because I think he's like, do you like me?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't not like you. And he's like, I'll take it.
Yeah. It's like day one. We're figuring this out. I hated you yesterday, so this is a step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you at school.
Yeah.
But we cut to, she goes inside and her dad's home and he's like, I came home on break and you weren't here and I freaked out. And she's like, oh, that's new because like you literally just left me at home all the time and like weren't a part of my child. So like that's kind of weird that you care.
Yeah, Ray.
And he's like, okay, that I just need to know if you're going out, where and when, and be home at a reasonable hour. She's like, all right, fine. Like, great. But we cut to, because Derek has offered if she wants to learn to dance, he will give her some dance lessons after school.
When they were walking home, that's like when that came up.
Yeah.
Because he was like, it's clear that you can dance, but you don't know, like, he said something like, it seems like once you got used to the music, you did better. And she was like,
right.
Excuse me, Derek, this wasn't the first time I heard hippity hop. It's fine. And he was like, let me give you some lessons. Like it'll get way better if you do.
Right. So we cut to them practicing for the first time. And this is where this is the scene people remember with the chair and the attitude and the whatever.
Yeah.
But this is also like throughout this montage of, this is where she's like, so you want to be a doctor? And he's like, yeah, but I got to go to college. I want to be a pediatrician because I like kids. Do you have any kids? No, do you? And he's like, why would you ask me that? And I'm almost like, well, we met Christopher. So like, it's not.
Yeah. Cause because your sister has a kid. Like, well, that's why. Yeah. Like, that's why it's being asked. It is weird because he's a kid, but like, it happens.
It happens.
I knew a few girls that got pregnant while I was in high school with them. Like, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of cool that his sister is still in school despite having had a baby.
That grandma's like the real MVP right there. Like that, yeah.
Real.
Yeah.
Anyway, they dance, they stretch, and we cut to her stretching at home, and she gets a phone call from her shit-ass friend back home.
Yeah.
Who's like, have you seen any drive-bys? How are you going to meet someone? She's like, well, I kind of did meet somebody. But the way her friend said it on the phone implied not that kind of like her friend is being dog whistle racist on this phone call.
Oh, so much. That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah. When Julia Stiles says, I actually think I did meet somebody. And she goes, oh, I didn't know there were any white guys at your school.
Yeah.
And then Julia Stiles is like, yeah, there aren't.
No, there are not. I didn't realize that was your only criteria.
Exactly. And I think you kind of see her in that moment like, oh, this friendship is over.
Yeah, we never hear from that girl again.
and then she quickly got off the phone and never called that crazy surf cult church goer back.
But we cut to school the next day. She goes in the bathroom and she walks in on Malachi essentially shaking down someone who owes him money for drugs, another student who owes money for drugs. And she tries to get in between it and stop it. And he, like, that allows the girl to get away, but he then throws her up against the wall in the bathroom and is like, you didn't fucking see shit?
Yeah.
Don't fucking say shit.
He also smacked the shit out of that lady he was yelling at.
Oh, yeah, he hit her hard. So Julia Stiles knows Malachi's bad news.
Yeah. Every Malachi's bad news. Like, he's either going to be bad in school or bad in a cornfield.
Right.
But Malachi's you don't want to be around him.
I knew a really cool Malachi in high school around this time, but he's the only cool Malachi I've ever met. So,
Paige, you're not strung up on a cross in a cornfield. You don't have to talk good about Malachi. You're fine. You're safe.
You too, Malachi. But, so literally immediately after this, we cut to her and Derek walking after school to go practice and do stuff. And she kind of confronts Derek with like, you're friends with that guy.
Yeah.
And like, cause there was a fight at the club that we kind of glossed over where Malachi got in somebody else's face cause they were selling at the club. And that's his turf.
Right. And so he started a fight. Malachi started that fight. And then Derek went over and helped.
Right.
And so they had to like run out of the club and the cops were coming. And so like they ran off. But
right.
Yeah.
But she then kind of confronts Derek and is like, so Malachi seems like bad news because like this is all the shit that happened. This is what I've seen. And this is where we find out from Derek that he and Malachi tried to rob a liquor store after it was closed.
Yeah.
And the alarm went off. The police chased them. And Malachi caused a diversion, so that Derek could get away and Malachi took the heat. And he's the one who went to jail.
Yeah, and wouldn't tell the police who his accomplice was.
Right.
So that he could still go to college. Like, that's why. Like,
Yeah.
it actually is sort of a selfless thing that Malachi did. Malachi is still a monster in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I think it's really interesting. If you've seen the movie Blind Spotting, there's a very similar thing here, but the flip is a little bit different. But this idea of like two people were involved, only one person gets blamed, and how does that change the dynamic?
Yeah. Well, and you sort of see that, right? Like,
Yeah. But anyway, he's kind of defending Malachi. He's like, he's a good dude. He saved me, basically.
Yeah.
But he finds an empty furniture store for them to basically practice dance in. This is where they'll practice for the rest of the time.
I got the vibe that he like worked there until it went out of business. He was like, I worked here over the summer, and eventually it's going to be like a club meant for like unhoused people. But until they find it, I can get us in and we can rehearse here.
Yep.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of a montage of them dancing. We cut to, she's over at his house talking to Chenille and is like, where's your mom? You know, what's the deal? What's happening? You know, like, what's with your grandma?
Yeah.
And we basically find out that their mom was incarcerated for both possession and likely solicitation is what they're implying.
Yeah.
But she got out and then ran and abandoned them, essentially. And so they live with their grandmother. But this is also where she's like, you like my brother, don't you? And she's like, no, I mean, I don't. But as that's happening, his letter from Georgetown comes.
Yeah.
So they go out. He's like, well, I want to celebrate together. We cut to them on the train, and they're arm in arm on the train. Because at this point, they're not official. Like, it is not like,
I don't even think they've kissed yet, but they're like dating.
Yeah.
Like they spend a lot of time together. They do a lot of dance lessons, quote unquote. Like, they're just like veiled attempts to hang out and get to know each other better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But while they're arm in arm, they realize that the fact that they are engaged in a what seems like intimate sitting arrangement.
Yeah. And they sort of are.
And they are of two different races is pissing off a lady on the train.
Yeah.
And they're like, cool, let's do it more.
Yeah.
Which is great. Love that.
I've done something very similar to this.
Yeah.
I've had something like this happen to me. Yeah. I went out to eat with honestly, one of my favorite coworkers when I was at Verizon was an awesome lady named Ebony. She was also a trainer like I was. And let's just say we had a really bad day at work. And so we were like, we're going to go to Cracker Barrel and we're going to figure shit out.
I love this.
Right?
I love this. Yes. Bad day. Fix it at Cracker Barrel. I'm with you.
Yeah. So we were at Cracker Barrel and we were sitting across each other just talking. I mean, we were just there for lunch at work.
Yeah.
And we got more than one like weird look from like a few different patrons. Not anyone that worked there,
right,
but like
a
few different patrons. And so on the way out, I was like, hold my hand. And so we walked out hand in hand. And then we got to the car and she goes, you need lotion. Let me give you some. You're ashy as fuck. I hated all of that. I loved Ebony so much. She's so great.
Also, sugar scrub to get the dead skin off. Then lotion.
Yeah.
I know all about the exfoliation and the lotion and the layering your oils before your lotions to lock in the scent for the oils. I get it. I know.
That sounded like chemistry, and no.
It's why my skin is so soft. It breaks my husband's brain. You know what? You want to keep a good man? Exfoliate.
That sounded like a threat. Like okay.
You better exfoliate.
That sounded like you were dropping down a bucket full of like sugar scrub into a pit in your basement.
It puts the sugar scrub on its skin and then washes it off. It buys the loofah net instead of the actual loofah so that you can use it and unroll it to do your bag and stuff. It goes to the Korean spa so they can take a pound of flesh off of you every once in a while. They exfoliate hardcore.
Apparently.
That's why I want to go to Korea. I'm really into it.
I hear they got like cheese graters for your body over there.
Oh, I mean, that's basically what's going on at the Korean spa where they like throw buckets of water on you so that you don't realize how much of your dead skin is just around. Anyway.
That sounds terrifying.
It's awesome. It's so nice.
I'm more scared of that than I am that Julia Stiles might one day again audition for Juilliard. Like, nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe from the ladies in the Korean spa with the scrubby gloves. Anyway, so he takes her out. They go to the ballet and she's like, I can't. I don't, it's not really a part of my life anymore. I don't really want, and he's like, come on. And they go, they watch the ballet.
Yeah.
And afterward, he's like, why aren't you still, like, if you were good, like, why didn't you still do this? And that's where she kind of opens up about her mom. She was rushing to the audition and everything. And he's like, that wasn't your fault.
I know. It's so sweet.
Like, I understand how you're upset, but like, that's not your fault. And if you're good at something, and if this is what you want to do, where he's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you still want that? Then yes, you got to make it happen. Like, that's on you, right?
He is looking at her so intensely in this scene.
Oh, it's so hot.
But it's not like an anger intense.
No, it's great.
It is like he is so present in the moment with her in this moment. And he's like, I am here for your grief. Let's do it. And I'm going to give you some great words of wisdom. And he really is sort of leaning on her. He's like, do you think she would want you to keep dancing?
Yes.
And then she says yes. And then he's like, well, then what do you want?
Right.
Because you don't have to do that because you think she would want you to. But that does free you up to not really have to worry about continuing, you know, because like your mom would want you to.
Right.
And so when she says that she wants to, he's like, fuck, let's do this. I love it. I'll help as much as I can. And it's like,
I love it.
So unconditionally sweet. I loved it.
And I'm telling you, nothing is hotter than that and intensity of like, I'm listening to you and I'm here for you. It's so good.
He is like looking down her like eye sockets into her soul. It's like
hot.
He does such a good job in this movie. Julia Stiles does too. But I really thought like he was so good. Like I did not see the actor at all in this.
No. And so he walks her home. They kiss. It's hot as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you might say it won the 2001 MTV Movie Award Best Kiss or something, Paige.
Good, it deserved it. It deserved it.
In truth, I'm not sure if it's this kiss that won, but it should be this kiss.
It should.
Yeah.
Either one, that's fine.
Yeah.
She gets her shoes out of the closet, and we then get another montage of her getting like back into shape. And we get just via voiceover of like, there's auditions next month. I got to get back in shape. They're dancing, but she's hip hop dancing as well.
Yeah.
We then cut to them back at the club.
Back at the club.
In the club, we all fam.
Oh, can I say this before we move back to the club?
Sure.
Because when they're dancing, and I don't know that people do this, but they are like choreographing the dance they're going to be doing later that night, which to me is so weird because you're going to a club. That's not really where you choreograph dance, but whatever. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I thought it was funny that she was like doing this thing with her hips, and she asked him like, "Oh, how's my butt?" And he's like, "It's good." And like she meant like, am I doing the movement right?
Right.
And he was like, "It's so great. Like it's so great."
I just love watching your butt. That's
like his
great.
response to me was so funny because then he's like, "Oh, I mean, it's fine. You're doing great. It's great. Like
doing great."
It was so funny.
But we go to the club. They're dancing. She ends up dancing with Snook. He ends up dancing with Nikki, and she's got feelings about it.
Yeah.
And I do love that immediately he's like, I did not intend to hurt you. I was just dancing. I won't do it again. Like he immediately is on top of it.
I do think he does apologize the right way immediately when he realizes there's a problem. I think it's nuts that he did it to begin with. We talked about this a little bit. It's a little bit out of character for him, but maybe he just wasn't really paying attention and they're on a big dance floor.
Yeah.
And so she dances over to him and Julia Stiles sort of dances with the other guy who's next to him. And then as like Nikki and him like grind up on each other, that's when Julia Stiles bones out, which I get. Like I wouldn't want to see the guy I'm about to like, give it to, like, dancing on his ex or whatever.
Right. Because essentially, like, from there, they go home. He takes her home. Her dad's not home.
Right.
And they start making out. And it's implied heavily that they have sex that night. And good for them.
I assumed they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for them.
And I kind of honestly assumed they're just, like, boning the rest of this movie. We're just not seeing it.
Yeah, I think so. We're just not seeing it. Yeah.
Because they definitely have, like, intimate chemistry from here on out.
Oh, yeah. We cut to sometime after that. One would assume the next day or so.
That's how time works, Paige. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 1 minute and then the next minute and then the day. Yeah.
If I learned anything from that Hootie the Blowfish song, it was that.
Yeah. I learned most of mine from Rent, so I can only measure it in minutes and cups of coffee. But at some point after that, Derek is with Malachi and the little kind of crew they have. And they're kind of talking about her, but they're like, yeah, okay, great, you're dating her, but like aside from that, what are we going to do about those guys that are on our turf? Because the club was just the first time they've been moving into our turf.
Yeah. It's like a full-on gang war about to start, sort of.
Yeah.
Over territory.
Over territory. And he's like, we got to do something. We got to push back. And he's like, I don't really want to. I'm worried about what that could mean.
Yeah.
And Malachi is just like, so you kind of owe me though?
Yeah. And in Malachi's world, he does. Like, Malachi, like, has the goods on him.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is. It's not statue, it's statute. Sorry. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on the crime that they committed, but I doubt it's a month.
Right.
Or I honestly don't know how long ago that happened, but it's usually like a few years for that kind of shit.
Right.
So like I sort of thought that Malachi at any point could go to the cops and be like, oh, it was this guy.
Right. Immediately.
Yeah.
So he's like begrudgingly like, I don't think it's a good idea, but maybe I'll be involved. We cut to, in theory, the next day.
Yeah.
When they're playing basketball outside. Julia Stiles is in school playing basketball, but this is also one of those things where you're like, why is he not in school? Like, because their basketball thing is a different place. Anyway, as she's playing basketball, she gets into a fight with Nikki.
Yeah.
And while that's happening, the drive-by happens and Malachi shoots back, but ultimately, like, they all hit the deck. Derek is in very serious danger in this point as well.
They all are, man. Like, no one gets hit, but like, that's dangerous. Obviously, that's dangerous.
Super dangerous. And at this point, Malachi's like, it ain't over. Like, now we have to go like tit for tat. We have to go to them.
Yeah.
And he comes over to see her that night and she's kind of messed up because of the fight with Nikki. And she's like, not a good time. We'll talk another time.
Yeah.
So he ends up with Malachi at the club. And Malachi's like, it's payback time. We got to go. Like, we got to go fuck them up.
Yeah.
And Derek is like, no, man, we can't do this. And he ends up punching Malachi and Malachi leaves.
Well, it's because this is where like we're getting like the tension from both sides about their relationship.
Right.
And so Malachi is like, you're going to like not be my boy because of this white lady. And is like sort of talking shit about Julia Stiles. So that's why he punches him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we then cut to back at Derek's apartment. Kenny has come to pick up baby Christopher and he's in a shitty mood. He's not having it. They're yelling. And she's like, yeah, you're not taking the baby. Not in this state.
Yeah.
So he leaves. We cut to, I would assume the next day, because I'm assuming this is part of why she's trying to get Kenny to take him, where they're trying to take the baby to the doctor. And they're just waiting forever because it's probably like a free clinic or whatever where it's just a huge waiting room of people. But while they're there, this is where Kerry Washington basically and Chenille gets into a conversation with Julia Stiles that's like, yeah, my brother's like a good dude, but here you come, all privileged white girl.
Yeah.
And take the one good dude.
Who's like got plans.
Right.
Like working to get out of this, you know, like, yeah.
Right. And Julia Stiles is like, I love who I love. It is what it is. And like, I love him for him. And I'm not going to apologize for that. But like, maybe I'm fucking shit up. I don't know. But so she leaves.
It's really sad, honestly, because like they're friends.
Yeah.
You know? And Kerry Washington's having a bad day. Like she just had a fight with the guy who was like...
She's just taking out a bad day on her. Yes. Not that it doesn't have weight. Like the things that she's saying are absolutely things to consider. But like she would not have said them if she was not also having a bad time with Kenny.
I agree 100%. Or it would have been a much more nuanced and gentle conversation.
Right.
But because I don't necessarily think that doesn't need to happen. I think the way it comes out aggressively is because of the situation. But I really wish that she had apologized for the way she broached it to Julia. She sort of does with Derek.
Yeah.
When she lets him know, right? Because he's about to like go. I thought that he was gonna go like start the turf war or whatever with Malachi.
Right.
But that bit of information is why he's like, oh, I'm not going to go fuck up my life. I gotta go get Julia Stiles back and then get out of here, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But before that happens, he goes to Julia Stiles and like, great. So do you want to do a dance for that like main squeeze night at the club? And she's like, well, I thought after the fight, maybe we wouldn't go. And he was like, what's the problem? And she's like, I mean, I care about you, but like maybe we shouldn't be together. Like nobody wants us to be together. Everyone kind of hates this. And he's like, I don't care, but if you care, then I guess like maybe we shouldn't be together, right?
Yeah, it's like the way they break up is like, they're just like sort of yes-anding each other in a negative spiral until the breakup happens.
Right.
Because at any point, one of them can be like, I want this to work.
Right.
Is there a way that we could make this work? And I think the other one would be like, okay, now that I know that, yes, let's figure it out.
Of course, I also want this to work. Yeah.
But no one's saying that because they're just spinning on the most negative, which is something that I do. Like, I get it. It made me very sad. I was like, oh, can't you two just see that you're in love?
Right. But she goes to school. We see her continuing to prep because we know her audition is like the next day. But he then talks to Malachi, and Malachi is just like, he who walks behind the rose says that it's at 47th Street under the E.
Yeah.
And so we cut to her apartment, Julia Stiles' apartment, where her dad has actually made a room for her. He'd been like working on it, I guess, in secret or whatever. And he has a really nice kind of talk with her that's like, I'm so sorry this happened. I didn't mean to leave you when you were a baby and mess up your life then. I didn't mean for you to have to be here now. This is so rough. I'm so sorry. But at least for right now, I'm going to try and be your dad. And she's just like, okay, cool.
I thought that this was a very sweet moment. It is like a dad being like, I get that I have truly fucked up and I am so sorry. I thought I had plenty of time to get to know you.
Right.
And I squandered that time, and now instead of having a beautiful daughter that loves me, there's a young lady in my house who hates me.
Right.
And she says, I think something that's sweet, although it's very sad. She's like, I don't hate you. I just miss her so much.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just her saying, like, I am open to working on our relationship, but I do not have the bandwidth right now.
Right.
But it's very sweet. It is just also so sad.
Well, and she even says, she's like, everything's so fucked up. Like, I have the audition tomorrow and I want him to be there. Because, like, mom wasn't there last time. And, like, he's the one who worked with me to get ready for this time. So, like, it bums me out that he's not going to be there, but I just gotta do it.
And then she says, I want someone there that loves me. And her dad's like, I love you.
Won't be there, though.
No, he is. He does go.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, he goes. But she doesn't want him there, Paige. She wants Derek.
Yeah, she doesn't want him there. But then we cut to Derek at the playground with his sister and the baby. And this is where Kerry Washington is like, hey, I got upset about stuff and said some shit to Julia Stiles, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, what'd you say? And he's like, oh my God, this is why we had that conversation. Like, this is what's happening. Meanwhile, Malachi's planning and prepping for the impending gang war. So he goes to Malachi and is like, I ain't going. Be mad about it. You should come home with me and not do this. But oh well.
I kind of loved what he said. Like, he's like, you're smarter than this, Malachi. Like, you could also get out. Like, let's try and get out of this in a way that, like, allows us to have a future.
Right.
And Malachi's like, all I got's my respect. And so I have to do this thing. And, like, I get why, if that's what you were born into and that's all you can see, why it might feel that way.
Right,
but like,
right.
Derek is so right, Malachi.
Right.
But like, it just made me sad for Malachi on some level because that dude did not have the social safety net he needed. But I'm so glad Derek chose Julia Stiles over murder.
Yeah, because he then runs and takes the train, and we aren't entirely sure if he's trying to get to her or if he's trying to beat them to the drive-by, is what the movie's kind of trying to tell us, I guess.
I thought it was pretty clear he was trying to get to Julia Stiles' house before they left to go to the audition.
That's what I read it as. But also he's like watching, and then they're intercutting it with the drive-by, and then the drive-by happens and he's still on the train, and you're like, oh, thank goodness he's safe.
Did you think he was like going to be running to go to Julia Stiles' house and just by chance run through the drive-by and Malachi was going to shoot him?
Yep, I did think that.
That would have been a true Malachi move, right?
I would have been. And that is what I thought. But no.
He's just wearing the pilgrim hat.
Outlander!
Exactly.
We have your dance shoes, Outlander! My voice is shot. This was I'm closing in on the limit of what I can do in a day.
Paige, it's 11:05 p.m. My day is almost over, and I've been working since 7.
Yep.
Let's do this.
Oh, God. So he makes it there. He gets there in time for the contemporary piece. She starts. It's not going well. They stop the music. He runs up and is like, fuck them. Who cares? Dance for me. Like, dance as if I'm the only one watching. You know you can do it. Go.
By the way, if you're auditioning for Juilliard
and
you fall, they're not going to stop the music and they're going to expect you to just keep going with your dance. You have one shot, one opportunity.
Mom spaghetti.
To like make sure someone dies tonight.
Yeah.
So like let's audition for Juilliard and roll those dice, Paige.
Let's go.
Anytime Julia Stiles is in New York, even, I feel like someone should warn the nation.
Just be careful. But she does an admittedly weird dance and gets into Juilliard, even though they would not, like, I shouldn't tell you this, but welcome to Juilliard. That's not how it works. He'd have to walk that back.
I honestly, Paige, I have a hot take. That dude, the judge, who's literally been just a catty bitch
the whole
time she's been on stage, fully circled the big no on his page and then said that to her, knowing in 6 weeks it was going to devastate her. He is going to go tell his pets how much he ruined this child's life.
Can I tell you, because before we started this call, I shared with you one of the pettiest things I've ever witnessed that happened at work today. And that's maybe the only thing pettier.
That's so petty, it wrote Free Fallin'. Like, that's how petty it is.
Oh, God. But she gets in and they go celebrate at the club.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
So having seen Save the Last Dance, having talked about it, what did you think about the movie that started the dance craze of it all, at least at this time? Save the Last Dance.
I do think this is the best. I mean, I think there are elements of Dirty Dancing, obviously, that we talked about that are performed really well. And I also think Dirty Dancing does the same thing that this does with montages, where it furthers the chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
I think this, of the dance movies we watched, is by far the best, and demonstrably so. But that said, I've really enjoyed Dance Month, and we'll definitely do it another time. Like, there are more dance movies. I promise we'll get to center stage. I promise. We'll get there.
I'm a little surprised, and maybe just because these movies aren't rom-coms, but like there's like a whole genre of like high school cheerleader movies.
I just watched one it was a Wattpad one. It was not that good. We could watch it if you want, but it's
a Wattpad movie wasn't good. Say it ain't so, Paige.
Don't we still have like one Afters movie to do or whatever?
God, I hope not.
I think we have one left. I don't know.
This sounds terrible. But Paige, how did you feel about Save the Last Dance? You liked it?
I enjoyed it quite a bit, yes.
Yeah. I liked it a lot too. Man, I really think Julia Stiles, I think, is great in everything. Unfortunately, because this guy, Sean Patrick Thomas, who has been in tons of stuff, it's just stuff I have not seen. Like, he's been on TV series that I've missed and stuff like that. I was really blown away by his performance. I'm sure he's this good in everything.
Yeah.
But he was so good in this.
I'm trying to see if there's stuff that I've seen, because he was incredible in this. He did so well. And his performance truly, he was in Cruel Intentions.
He was.
Oh, and all the barbershop movies. Okay, I've seen him.
Yeah, and I've seen him in stuff. I don't know that he's ever been, like, in the stuff that I've seen, a lead like he is in this. But he's so good.
No, and he should be in more stuff because he was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, here is with your fun facts.
The Last Dance fun facts. So, this is Kerry Washington's first big movie.
Oh.
She was working as a substitute teacher at the time.
What?
And she was paid so little for the film that she had to return to substitute teaching.
Wow.
And she eventually had to switch to elementary school because high school students would show up to, air quotes, watch Chenille teach French because the movie came out while she was still substitute teaching.
That kind of sucks. I'm sorry,
It
Kerry
does.
Washington. I mean, she's so great and she blew up.
Yes.
Like, she was destined to be like where she is.
Yeah. I'm so glad she has the career she has now.
Me too.
Because she clearly worked for it and deserved it.
Yeah, good for her. But that sucks.
So the director, Thomas Carter, cast Julia Stiles after seeing her table dance in 10 Things I Hate About You, something we've covered on this podcast.
Yes.
Now, Kerry Washington also one time revealed in an Ellen interview that she saved her money from what she was paid for this film to buy her first laptop, which just makes me sadder. I just want all good things for Kerry Washington now after this movie.
I know.
They originally wanted to shoot at an all-Catholic girls' school just as the set, but they wouldn't allow them to remove the religious decorations, so they had to find a different school.
Okay.
And oddly enough, this opened, I'm not going to spoil the numbers. I will have to recuse myself.
Okay.
But this opened literally like a week from when we're recording this right now, almost exactly 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So the first dance practice in the school cafeteria, that entire scene is improvised.
Oh, I called that out. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that scene.
So, but it was specifically improvised by Sean Patrick Thomas.
Yeah.
After the cameras caught him muttering instructions to Julia Stiles, even though she knew how to dance.
Well, he's doing that, and then like he's also like saying things like, "Yeah, like you a real nasty bitch." Like he's like, and it's like in a silly
I
way.
love it.
I think it's just like he's just trying to lighten the mood and make her laugh. I thought it was really cute and fun. Yeah.
Yep. So the routine for the Juilliard audition is choreographed by Fatima Robinson, who choreographed for artists like Michael Jackson. But the part of the routine where she uses a chair is very similar to the routine from Backstreet Boys' As Long As You Love Me music video, which was popular at the time. So I think that's probably why it's in this. But this is what I mean about like, you know, similarly, Honey had a very famous and good choreographer as well, but they just couldn't do the dance like this. Even though it's a little weird, it is difficult. She is doing it. She can still do it to this day, as evidenced on SNL.
Yeah, that's so impressive. Like, she does a great job in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, in many, many scenes, and I didn't notice this until I found this fun fact and then was looking for it later in the movie, Derek and Sara's, Julia Stiles' character, their outfits mirror each other's in color or pattern or style to symbolize that they are essentially the yin to the other's yang.
Yeah, okay.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Before we get into box office, I found a fun fact. Did you know that all the corn stalks, except for some, were polyurethane, and so they
I had no idea.
Sorry.
That's so wild.
I actually hung out with Chris Damaris the other night because I was in Austin.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That's
Well, he was the
awesome.
one that like did that fun fact, right? Like he just like
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
Chris's fun fact.
So fucking funny. Anyway, Paige, I know you have to recuse yourself for the box office. Do you know what the
I
budget
do.
is for Save the Last Dance from 2001?
I would guess that in 2001, the budget for this movie was somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 million.
You're close. It was $13 million, which if you adjust for inflation is $23 million today. This movie did come out on, like you said, a few weeks ago, January 12th, 2001. It was number one the week it came out, guys. It beat the number 2 movie, Castaway, number 3, Traffic, number 4 was Double Take, and number 5 was What Women Want. Paige, do you know how much it made in its opening weekend?
I do. That's what I have to recuse myself about.
Okay. It brought in $27.5 million in its opening weekend. That's more than double its budget in its opening weekend. That is an insane return on investment for a movie. Like, they have to have been thrilled with that. The movie was in the box office for 26 weeks. It ran from January 12th to July 6th. So like half a year. And it was number 1 for its first 2 weeks. It was in the top 5 for 5 weeks, in the top 10 for 6 weeks, and then slowly fell out of the theaters. But do you know what it brought in domestically, Paige, at the box office?
I don't.
Do you want to guess?
I'm going to guess around 90 million.
$91 million.
Damn, I'm on it today.
You are. And then another $31.2 million internationally for a total of $122.2 million. And again, this is like 2001. So like that's $216 million today. But if you're looking at the time period in which it was, $13 million budget, $122 million box office, that's great.
That's incredible.
I'm surprised we're not currently getting Save the Last Dance 12 with Julia Stiles and Sean Patrick Thomas's kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm shocked we don't have that.
There is a sequel. I don't think either of them are in it, though. But it did not do well.
In the beginning of that one, they're like in a jet and it blows up, like just like Iron Eagle 2, and it's a whole new cast.
That's a whole new cast. The DeLorean shows up and is like, it's Marty, it's your kids.
It's your kids.
Yeah.
It's your kids, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, the sequel came out in 2006 and features the same character, Sara,
Right.
but it's a completely different actress. And it's her at Juilliard, apparently.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't think so. But Paige, that's your box office. Do you want to hit us with that romance scale.
Yes, our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 because Mikey said so. Todd, how romantic do you find this movie?
I'm going to give it a 3. Like, there's no
Same.
actual sex on the screen.
Well, didn't need it.
So it's not like that intense. They still have tons of chemistry, man.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm giving it a 3 too. And here's the thing: the intimacy we do see on the screen is done incredibly well. Is very hot. They have huge chemistry. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3 as well.
Yeah. This week, Paige, you made us watch Save the Last Dance. What are you going to make us watch next week as we start, I think, a whole new theme, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of off a couple weeks because we've been doing 4 weeks of whatever and life has been crazy.
Yeah.
Because normally this would be Black Romance Month, and we're still going to do that, even though it might extend a bit into March.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Wait.
Who cares?
I know what this is. Oh, I don't know what it is, but you told me before we were going to do a Queen Latifah movie, so I'm very excited. I don't know what it is yet.
We love Queen Latifah so much
We do.
that we watch her movies whenever, but particularly I would like to watch one now, and it's one that's been requested many, many, many times in the Facebook group, so we're going to do Girls Trip.
Okay. All right. So your homework for next week is to watch Girls Trip with the one, the only Queen Latifah. I think Regina Hall's also in it, right?
And Regina Hall and Tiffany Haddish and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Awesome.
Yep.
I can't wait to watch it. I obviously haven't seen it, so I can't wait to watch it.
It's going to be great.
But that's your homework for next week, guys. Watch Girls Trip with all those awesome actresses.
Yeah, Regina, Tiffany, Jada, and Queen.
Watch out.
Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a Spotify comment that came in off of our most recent episode, and that episode was Honey. And I'm just going to go with Buffy because Buffy has a comment that is on brand for Buffy.
Okay.
And you'll understand when I read it. Beyonce has done a horror movie you could do on THV. And it's the reason I say it's like Buffy is because they both know that there's a horror movie that Beyonce was in and don't tell us what it is.
Oh, no.
I loved that. I thought I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Anyway, Buffy, thank you for the meta comment or honestly,
Hold
just
on.
a great recommendation. Paige is going to look it up, it seems.
I'm looking up right now.
Jump cut to when Paige has looked it up.
Beyonce horror movie.
Boom.
Oh, it's from 2009 called Obsessed. Oh, I remember when this came out. It's got Idris Elba and Beyonce Knowles. And yes, I remember this fucking movie. Okay. It's wild. We should do it. American psychological thriller.
But Buffy, thank you so much for the comment. And if you want to have me read your Spotify comment and or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep, Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
Toe box pletion.
You know the sound when the slippers go...
I hated it, Paige. Bye, nerds.